dance for joy, your last.
Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Reviews, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars that you can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 2020 Hyundai i20 1 litre SE automatic, known as the GB series of i20. But is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So in this country, the second generation Hyundai i20 was launched at the beginning of 2015. I have had one of the first generation i20s on the channel, which was back in 2021, and a friend of mine who owned that car, which has now been scrapped because it had done 225,000 miles by the time she sold it, was really keen on it. It was a 1.4 with a 6-speed manual gearbox, and they're not the most exciting cars to look at or anything like that, but they tend to be just very beloved to people who like just getting on with life and just not worrying about things like the most exciting driving experience or whether or not the thing's actually going to start in the morning. They're very dependable and well engineered cars. I think these second generation cars, this GB generation, they do look a bit better. They also have a better choice of engines. The one at the bottom of the range is the 73 brake horsepower Kappa 2 4-cylinder engine, which is only available in the S and S Air trims, I think. Better would be the 82 brake horsepower version of that engine. For some reason, when it's in a Kia, it's got a 1.25. When it's in a Hyundai, it's a 1.2. I have no idea why that is. They are exactly the same. So then we get on to things that are a bit more exciting. There were two engines that produced 98 horsepower, the first one of which was a 1.4 version of the Kappa 2, which lasted until I think the facelift in 2018, although latterly only really available in the automatic models. And then a 1 litre 3-cylinder version of the Kappa 2 that's in this car produces 98 horsepower. With the facelift, you could get that with either a 5-speed manual or a 7-speed DCT automatic, which this car is. With the 1.4 automatic, which is the only other automatic available with petrol engines, you could get a 6-speed manual or a 4-speed auto. I don't recommend the 4-speed auto, that's probably not the best. This twin clutch unit is better, although it feels a little bit hesitant at times. I don't know what that is or anything like that. Maybe I'm not driving kind of hard enough or something, but there we go. 0 to 60, this car's about 11 seconds. It feels powerful enough, but the car I would want if I was buying one of these i20s would be the 118 brake horsepower version of the 1 litre Kappa 2 engine, which generates, which has 180 horsepower, and has a 6-speed manual option and does 0 to 60 under 10 seconds. That'll be absolutely fine for me. There are also some diesels available, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So you could get your Hyundai i20 GB in 3 different body styles. There's normal 5-door hatchback. There was also a 3-door hatchback that's called the Coupe between 2015 and 2017, when it was renamed 3-door and then discontinued 2019. And then from 2016, I think it was, until 2018, you could get a thing called the Hyundai i20 Active that was like a sort of faux off-roader thing with very slightly different ride heights, only available in one trim level and only with the 1 litre engine and a manual gearbox. That was new at the time in 2016, that 1 litre engine. So yeah, just quite a variety of derivatives. We'll go over some of the trim levels a bit later. and generally to drive, it feels fine. The suspension's quite compliant. This road's a bit bumpy, but it's not too bad. Steering, parking speed's a little bit on the light side. Weights up a little bit when you go a bit faster, but generally there's not much to say about the way this car drives, really. I think the design of these facelifted second generation i20s is actually really neat. You can see that compared with the earlier ones, the number plate has moved up into the boot lid as opposed to being in the bumper. I don't know why, but that gives the whole rear of the car quite a different sort of character. Even in this SE model, which is the mid-range trim, we've got these quite smart diamond cut alloy wheels. This car's only done about 4,600 miles from new, so it looks really, really immaculate, and it is. Grey probably suits it, although you could go for a brighter colour as well. Of course, you didn't want to fit in with everybody else, because of course grey is one of the most popular colours at the moment. We've got LED daytime running lights on this car as well, which came with all the facelifted ones. Fog lamps, because this is an SE. The premium ones, obviously the best ones, or premium nav as well, premium SE and premium SE nav. It's very confusing as to all the premium trims. I don't know why they kept changing the name of them. But yes, we'll have a look in the boot. That's one of the reasons actually why you might get one of these, is the size of the boot. It doesn't look like it's going to be particularly big, but it's 326 litres. As you can see, we've got lots of stuff in here. It's actually only a few litres smaller than a Mark 7 Volkswagen Golf, which was about 330. So very practical to see all this stuff in here. Quite a high load lip though, but that's quite common in cars like this. One thing you do get, I think, on all facelifted i20s of this generation is reversing camera. The SEs get parking sensors as well. Then of course the premiums and special editions and things get those too. We'll take a seat in the back. See how large it is in here. But one thing I would say about this car is a lot of the plastics are sort of tough and hard, but if you're comparing this against, I don't know, a Skoda Fabia Mark 3 or a Kia Rio of the same vintage, then it's pretty much like this anyway as well, so that's no surprise. This seat actually set for the owner's driving position, which I've been using as well. We're about the same height, so I can fit in here if my knees sort of tuck in. It's not the best. I'll just pause a second, actually shut the door. So it's not necessarily the most roomy Super Mini I've ever seen. The current generation Polo, for example, which came out in 2018, so before this car was made, is a bit more spacious than this, but it's not too bad. You can see we've got quite large door bins that can hold a large bottle of water. We've also got a cup holder down here, as well as ones for the driver and passenger in the middle, so quite practical. I'd like an armrest, but these days a lot of cars don't actually have them. If I sit back a bit, my head's not touching the roof at all. So if you're sort of 6 foot or under, this is fine. If you sit back a bit, then that's sort of comfortable. You don't have to actually necessarily have your knees in there. If you just kind of sit upright a little bit. It doesn't feel sort of poor quality. It's just hard plastics just give it an air of not as being as luxurious as some of the other cars in this class would be. But that's quite common like this. The I'll say it, Toledo Mark 4 I had, but it was a 2017, had plastics everywhere as well. So not really too much of a surprise. It's just a sort of shame. I know Skoda's quite keen on giving you hard plastics everywhere too. I've also noticed it's really, really cheap. You don't get a mat pocket in the back of the driver's seat, only in the back of the passenger seat, which is really, really strange. But yeah, don't know what this would be up here. That's really strange. Because the electric window switches are here. So I don't know what that would be. Is that rear heated seats or something? You can get heated seats in some of these, not this one. Mystery. So we get into the front. That's the most important place anyway. So that's pretty easy. I'm going to shut the door again because I don't want to be locked up by a passing motorist. Again, it's all right in here. It feels fine. The quality's okay. It's just a shame we haven't got any sort of soft touch materials on the dash or on the door tops or anything. We've not even got them on like an armrest. But I suppose, you know, if you're buying this sort of car, you might not be that concerned about that sort of stuff. You're going to be concerned about how much equipment there is, whether it's dependent, whether it's good on fuel. And, you know, in that sort of respect, one of these is excellent at all those things. So bear in mind, this is the mid-range model. It's not the premium nav, premium SE or premium nav, which were the sort of top models, depending on the year of the car. So we've got this 7-inch screen. You can have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It was standard on all facelifted second generation i20s, as was the reversing camera, which is great. Nice, simple controls. I think you could get climate control in the very top models. This is just standard air conditioning, which again, most people who buy a car like this, that's all you want. You can see where the heated seat switches would be for the top models. But we've actually got a huge plethora of ports. We've got the 12-volt socket there, and an aux in, and 2 USB ports, which is absolutely fantastic. So we can't connect Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I could play around my phone and do that, I suppose. I haven't really got time today, so I won't do that. But nice big buttons either side of the screen as well to operate the various features. Let's make sure we're sort of off. Yeah, we're off. That's good. What other features can we have? We've got setup in here, just for the sound and home screen and things like that. Phone projection, yeah, we know that. System information. Is there anything else exciting in here, or is it just very kind of sort of normal? It looks pretty normal to me. No sat nav in this one. This isn't an SE nav. I'm not sure if there actually was an SE nav. I'll have a look in my secret written documents later on, and we'll see actually if there was an SE nav. But certainly you could get navigation for some other trim levels. Most of the time though, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay is the most sensible thing to use, and I think Hyundai pretty much realised that, which is why they gave this to all the trims with the facelift. So there we go, got something there which we will try to put in the top. I think if we cleared some of that stuff out, we might actually be able to fit that in, but I've got to be careful here because we've got a V5 in there. You can't really see that. No, you can't see it, but we will maybe just assume that that's okay. Going to door bin. I mean, I think actually the door bins are so big, and I'll try this one here over here. That's a 2-litre bottle of water, isn't it? Which is really good. And the cup holders down here, and a sunglasses holder. It's very handy. Someone's thought quite a lot about how the average person who's buying one of these cars will actually use it, and it seems to be working quite well. What I'm surprised to see on this side, if I can get the camera there, yeah, that's lane keeping assist, and on one of these SE models, that's standard equipment. So you've got a lot more safety features. We'll go through some of them a bit later, but you got on the facelifted models, particularly on this sort of high trims like this, and actually the lane keeping assistance is ready there. I imagine you could turn it off. Unfortunately, Hyundai have given you a button there to turn it off without having to go through all the menus. And you could also get heated steering wheel, along with heated seats on some sort of premium models, which was good. Right, although it's kind of just quite normal in here, and you know, the sort of hard plastic is not ideally what I want, I think it's fine. I don't think it's really a problem for the average person who'd be looking at a car like this. Right, let's have the autofocus work again, and then have a look at the engine. So under the bonnet, I've got a 1 litre 3-cylinder Kappa 2 unit developing in this car, about 98 horsepower. with the 7-speed DCT automatic gearbox. All the petrol second generation Hyundai i20s have a Kappa 2 engine, ranging from this 1 litre up to 1.4 litres. Simple enough to work on. They're actually chain driven, these engines, so they're not like the PureTech engines in some Stellantis products, or the Volkswagen 1 litre TSI engines, which can have problems with the wet timing belts. They are chain driven. I've never heard any horror stories with these 1 litre Kappa 2 engines. They just seem to be really, really reliable. I have heard with the 1.2s and 1.4s of the 4 cylinders that sometimes the timing chains can have a problem. Generally, it's down to the car not being serviced properly as to why those would fail. But with these, so far, it seems okay. This car is actually still under the warranty anyway, because you've got a 5-year warranty with Hyundais at this time, so that's worth sort of bearing in mind. Very late one, this, registered in the sort of middle of 2020. I think they were discontinued in the autumn, so quite a late example of one of these, but still I think an attractive car. I actually think in some ways these are more attractive to look at than the current generation i20, but that's really up to you and your personal preference. Lloyd Consulting stickers, t-shirts and mugs are available by clicking the link to the Google form in the video description below. So, feels frisky enough, I suppose. I mean, it's not, not the most exciting car to drive, but it's, you know, it's fine. Actually, the steering's a bit more accurate than a lot of cars I've driven recently. Even some that are supposedly more sporty than this car. The way the car drives, it isn't going to give anybody any nice surprises. And actually, the car drives better than you'd imagine it would do. They've got quite a nice sort of balance of ride and handling in this. There's no surprise that the Kia Rios that are based on exactly the same platform, have the same engine and gearboxes and things like that, they drive in a very similar way, and they're also quite good. It just sort of depends when you're cross-shopping back between the Rio and an i20. Just depends what you prefer. This is pretty good. The driving position is actually really nice. The steering wheel feels good to hold. It's not really the case with all cars, and this is great in that respect. It's actually a much nicer little car to drive than I remember when I tried a 1.2 manual version of one of these a few years ago. It's actually quite refined in here. The engine you can't hear an awful lot, and that's probably what most people who buy something like this would want. It's just a shame that like the sort of screaming turbo edition is not really, because you could only get the 118 brake horsepower 1 litre engine most of the time anyway, unless you're talking about the coupe, in which case you could get it in a sport nav trim, I think, in the premium trim. So premium trim it is, with all the extras and heated steering wheel, heated seats and 6-speed manual, and you'd still get around 50 miles per gallon. This particular variation with the automatic gearbox gets about 50.4, and a manual with a 6-speed manual you might get even more. Altogether, really quite a pleasurable and sensible package. So here's a look at some second generation Hyundai i20 trim levels. The base model was just the S, and then there was an S Air. I imagine you understand what option that came with. The S was the only one I think available with a 73 brake horsepower 1.2. All other models, the 1.2 was a more powerful version. The SE like this, then 4 premium label trims. Premium nav, premium SE, premium SE nav. It depended on the year as to which the premiums were available. I think the premium SE nav was the only one available post facelift, but I could be wrong about that. Then there was the sport nav. You didn't actually get any more power in it, strangely enough. You didn't get the more powerful 1 litre engine in that trim, or in the turbo edition. The turbo edition, I think, was really to sort of highlight the fact that you could get the turbo engine, which appeared in 2016. The run-out model was called the Play, and I have driven one of those. I drove it actually when we were considering buying one in 2020, about sort of May, June time. We did look at one of those. We didn't actually buy it in the end, but we did look at one. Then the Go Edition and Go Edition SE. The car actually was made in a few places around the world. This one and most of the ones for the European market would be made in Turkey, and also in Iran, Algeria, and India. They had a slightly different model than the worldwide GB, which this one is. So let's have a look at these safety features before I actually forget. So 6 airbags were found on all cars. All SE models and above got lane departure warning. And then in 2018, all cars, along with this very, very nice 7-inch touchscreen with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, they got a reversing cam automatic lights. If it was an SE like this one or above, you additionally got autonomous emergency braking, lane keeping assist, automatic high beam, and tyre recognition, which is quite good actually to have that done on all models. That was one of the main reasons to buy one of these. So viewers, should you consider a second generation Hyundai i20 with your hard-earned budget up to between £1,000 and £5,000 as a sensible second-hand buy? Well, this one, which is an immaculate, really low mileage, very late, automatic, you're not going to be getting one of these for £5,000. You're looking at an early car. Prices start at about £4,000 for those early cars, things like the sort of, you know, S and SE with the 1.2 engines. But it's hard to find a reason rationally not to recommend this car. They're not particularly exciting to look at. They're not particularly exciting in terms of the interior, but they're extremely practical, very reasonable to run, and they do tend to be quite dependable. So if that's what you need, this might be for you. Anyway, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video in the comment below, and we shall see you again soon for more reasonably priced motoring.